as you can tell, it is a very, very beautiful, beautiful day outside. So, looking forward to the weekend. Got to make it to tonight, right? That's the prize for those of us who, punch a clock for a living. It is glorious. It is glamorous. Why don't you join us? Yeah. Okay. This Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be on highfivin.com live streaming, so you can come and hang out with me there. As you can tell, brought out the big mug today. Ooh, that's good. Anyway, going to be live streaming, so grab a cup of tea or coffee, or grab a nice cold beer and come join me. We could talk about just about anything you would like to talk about. If I don't feel like it's worth talking about, I'll let you know. Anyway, let's get right down to it. So, big weekend, big reading. Let's do the thing, right? Starting with our guide card, and this time I made sure. The two separate piles remain the two separate piles here. Okay, so we do have none other than Odin himself. So Odin is showing up today. Wonder what he has to tell us. I'm really, really eager to get into this particular reading, because he really doesn't show up much unless he has something very, very important to tell us. So, here's what we're looking at. It would actually benefit us to seek a little guidance, mostly from those who have experience, who have knowledge of a situation. Those who have learned from past mistakes. That way you don't have to make them. That's what real wisdom is. If you can learn from someone else's mistakes, it takes you a lot farther than it took them to make it. So, look for that this weekend. And for our spirit animal this weekend, the one that always kind of terrifies me a little bit, koala spirit. The spirit has a plan. I wonder what that is. I think it's going to be kind of interesting. So, if spirit has a plan, and we're told to seek a little experience and wisdom, something tells me you might be looking for an experienced spiritual advisor this weekend. Whatever that looks like to you. Doesn't have to be any particular thing. If you happen to know a minister or a priest, whatever religion you subscribe to, I think that's a great place to go. If you're in a job, someone who knows that job inside and out is a great place to go. So, let's see. We have had a really, really strange week, have we not? It's been 2 weeks of this. They've been very big weeks, despite me trying to keep these readings small. Obviously, I'm not getting this out before 11 a.m. today because I slept in. That was done by choice. I took a nap yesterday, woke up, could not get back to sleep, and then Bob actually helped me get back to sleep after I did some of my insomniac things. So, this is going out for the rest of today and the weekend, so feel free to peruse this video at any point in the weekend if you're feeling a little stuck somewhere. But I will say this, the lessons from this week should be carrying over. No more dealing in fear. No more responding to it. In fact, my advice still stands. When someone tries to convey a message based in fear to you, turn your back to them and walk away. If someone is trying to convey a message based in love to you, then listen. Have that conversation. See where it takes you. But remember, someone else's fear, even mine, my own anxieties over snakes or what I believe to be a conspiracy of small animals and children put on this planet to make faces at me, should not become your problem. Are we clear? Good. Let's find out what our body needs for this weekend. I can tell you, you probably earned a little bit of rest and recuperation. For those of you trying to reach me through Discord or Twitter or high-fiving speakermindhere.com, pill.net, understand that I'm not hanging out by my computer and I'm not checking my phone incessantly these days. Mainly because I'm reading, and as you can see, I've chewed through almost half this book in the few days since I've gotten it. I also have a ton of other books, a ton of them. The library, both physical and mostly virtual, is growing by the day. I actually got recommended by my boss this book called The Great God Pan, which I purchased in an anthology, The Great God Pan and other short stories. I am quite a horror buff. I love really good horror that isn't just gore porn. Okay, so what does our body need? We have the Magician. There we go, right off the bat with court cards. We have the Sun, again with court cards, and we have Death. So we all know a few things. The Sun, the Magician, Death, they've all come up before. Very simply put, mastering your craft, having everything available to you, in order to acquire these two things, something has to go. That could be just an old way of behavior. It could be, in fact, I'm going to say this, definitely getting rid of some old behaviors. Some old behaviors that may be holding you back. I'm not seeing you being held back mentally or physically. I'm not seeing you being held back. I am seeing that you're not achieving some kind of potential here. Whatever that is to you, whether it's a fitness goal, being able to further yourself in some way physically, you're going to need that. Now, if you're not resting enough, it's time to rest. It's time to give up some of the activity. If you have no activity, it's time to get into some activity. Whatever that looks like to you, that Death card is speaking very, very loudly because it's amplifying these two. And if you want that end goal, you're going to need to kill off a part of something self-destructive. Once you do that, all the doors open to creating a better you. I'm looking at this as your health. Your health may be suffering, and it could be you're not getting enough sleep. This guy, I definitely don't get enough sleep, as evidenced by the fact that I took a nap after I got home from work, and right after I ate, no less. Not exactly the best kind of behavior. Shut up about my vaping. That's none of your damn business. And it's not negotiable. So anyway, what does the mind need? So we have the Hanged Man, again with these court cards. We do have a Four of Cups though. And we have a Knight of Cups. See, the thing about these court cards is this is your relationship to the rest of the world. And right now, the rest of the world, the entire world around you, needs you to be in at least some, maybe not peak physical form, but some semblance of it. And if you're not taking care of yourself, well, then you're doing yourself a huge disservice. But with the Hangman, that's all about sacrifice, because as we all know from the story, Odin hung himself from the tree Yggdrasil in order to obtain the secrets of the runes. And he hung there for 9 nights, swinging at the wind with no one to feed him, no one to offer him food or drink. And when he finally did take up the runes, he took them up screaming. But this is a bit of self-awareness as well. And coming into that mind position here, that's extremely important, because your self-awareness is going to be everything. But going to the cups here, that 4 of Cups, you seem to be taking things for granted. That is not a good sign. Taking things for granted, what happens when they're gone? Like I've said this before, the illusion is crumbling. It's falling apart before your very eyes. So if you're dependent on some kind of system to keep you afloat, you might want to examine whether or not that's part of the illusory system that we currently have, because if it is, it's not going to be there. That is why your self-mastery is everything. The plan of your spirit is self-mastery. Mastery of yourself creates a mastery of the world around you. Now, here's the thing. Let's call this the ripple effect. We can actually sort of see it right here in this card, this 4 of Cups here. Where those ravens stand is creating little waves. So, you start with the self, the immediate world around you, and then so on and so forth. Everything is touched by those little ripple waves from the time you drop the stone of self-mastery into the water. They spread out. And then we've got that Knight of Cups. That Knight of Cups is telling you that it's okay to be dreaming. You know, chase a little whimsy here. It's going to be perfectly fine. But don't get too bogged down in apathy and self-absorption, which is also what this 4 of Cups is. It's apathy and, you know, looking in the mirror all the time. It's a little narcissism there. Don't get too involved in that. Admittedly, I got involved into a little bit of it when I came home to find, you know, got a little curious again, looked at my channel, and even did it this morning, and there have been some pretty interesting upticks in the last few days of readings. By the way, thank you all. I love you for that. You guys are awesome. Even if it's just one of you viewing it multiple times, thank you. Okay, just finished my cup of tea and I'm down to the last of my 4 horsemen tea. That's what's going on, so it's a little gritty at the bottom. Know what I mean? Anyway, now for spirit. Here's where that koala is going to speak a little more. And it's going to elaborate a little bit on spirit stuff. So let's get into it. We have, oh yeah, we did. We covered the Knight of Cups. We've got an 8 of Cups. We got a 6 of Cups. And we got an Ace of Cups. Okay. Oh man. A lot of emotion in the last couple days. I kind of thought changing decks might might just temper that. It did not. Okay, so the 8 of Cups. You definitely need some meditation. I need some meditation. We need to do that. Let's start doing that, okay? Whether it's at night or first thing in the morning, middle of the day, it only takes a couple minutes. Let's start incorporating that, shall we? that Six of Cups, we're kind of revisiting some things, so some nostalgia is a great thing. Go look through some old photos with family or something, you know, something like that. Reminisce on some old times. It's not a bad thing. Remembering all the stuff in there that really made you happy, that really lit you up. That's important, by the way. If it's not lighting you up, if it's making you miserable, forget it. Leave it behind. Cut it loose. And finally, with that Ace of Cups, we do have some new beginnings there. And that Ace of Cups is this is our chance to master our emotional well-being, our mental well-being, our physical well-being. And that's what's speaking to us. I can tell you this much. I don't really get the chance to work out a lot. Obviously, I'm editing a lot of video, I'm planning a lot of stuff, and then I'm reading. Sometimes I will sit here and veg out in front of the TV, watching some old, like, Mystery Science Theater 3000. Yes, I'm a bit of a geek. I should show you my role-playing books. I got more role-playing books than I have decks. My physical and virtual library on that's getting bigger too. Just letting you know. Things like that. But when I'm able to go to the gym and, you know, not have to wear a mask, you know, it's super late at night, nobody's there but me and maybe a couple other people, and I'm able to do my workout at my pace with as much space as I need, hit those treadmills, hit those weights, and then go hit the showers. When I walk out of there, I'm going to tell you right now, I immediately feel better. So go for that walk. In fact, I went for a walk last night. Let me tell you that story. I decided, after feeding Mr. Bob, that I would just go for a walk. I wanted to listen to some music, and that's the best way for me to do it. And in true testament to Brian's, over Fixed Air Moon, by the way, fixedairmoon.com is, the member section is no longer there. Now, all those videos are free to everyone. That is a play that when it was announced that the member section was closed and that all these would just be on YouTube, Brian, if you're watching, totally backing it, brother. Good call, good move, I back it. Anyway, he started this a couple weeks ago with this Leo season where he was just kind of bopping around dancing on a music video. I responded, of course, if you saw it on my Twitter, with a full lip sync of one of my favorite songs that does top my workout playlist. And I just kind of picked it because I thought, what would look really ridiculous right now? And I adopted a quote from a guy I knew named Daryl, who said, "They're gonna look at me like I'm stupid, but god damn it, they'll look at me." And that's just kind of where I went with it. I weighed the odds I was doing something incredibly insightful and powerful and would change the world versus something I was just doing something completely stupid, and I went and did it anyway. So, true to form, I went out for this walk, and during that walk, yes, I danced. I danced my ass off on that sidewalk concrete walking path around the river. I listened to everything from metal to Celtic stuff, and I danced. I found a little dark spot just off of that walking path, and I danced. And I had a hell of a time. Now, if anyone saw me in this state, they probably cringed pretty hard, I'm going to admit that. However, I do not give a damn. They probably looked at me like I was stupid, but god damn it, they looked at me. And I hope I inspired a few of them to do the same. And if I got just one to do it, I'm good. Anyway, believe it or not, you can do a lot very late at night. You can get away with a lot very late at night. Okay, so let's get down to working your light. Obviously, Brian and I are working ours. You need to be working yours. So we have Lemuria. This is what it says, creating heaven on earth, it's happening. Anyone familiar with that Belinda Carlisle song, Heaven is a Place on Earth? If you watched Black Mirror's episode San Junipero, you probably are. They played it over and over. Yeah, go have a listen to it. Find it on Spotify and just listen. Because this is what it's about. You gotta create it where you are. Obviously, if you're in your physical, mental, and spiritual, we'll say, shining place, if you're in your lighthouse, so to speak, guess what? You are beginning to create it. Don't let the outside world influence it too much, and get with others who are doing the same. So here we go. Imrama. What are you being called to journey to? Because that's the question here. Let's see what the book has to say about that one, because honestly, I've never seen that card before, I don't think. And I'm a little curious, because this is a question. This is one of those types of cards that it's an inquiry. Or it's an activation. Ooh, interesting. We're getting fancy schmancy up in here. Thanks, Rebecca. So, the Celtic word, here we go, something that touches on another part of my ancestry. The Celtic word Imrama means a journey of the soul, a voyage on which we don't know where we are going, but our soul knows the way. If we pulled this card, we are either being called on a soul journey or are already on one. It could be to an ancient physical place or metaphoric. When we journey to places that our soul remembers, a shift takes place both within us and to the planet as well. You're being called to journey to a place that's sacred to your soul. Perhaps it is to journey to the world's sacred sites, cross the country, climb a mountain, lie on the desert floor, or drink from an ancient well. These are places to see and old friends to meet. I see spontaneous pilgrimage in your future. But if this is not if a physical voyage isn't possible, journey through the portal of your heart and soul. Follow the invisible soul trail and be willing to explore. Maybe read a book, or watch a movie about a sacred time or place. Or perhaps you're being called to study an ancient lineage or body of work. Whatever your circumstances, your soul is ready to journey deep. So, does that properly explain why I'm reading? Why I plan to do more of it during this weekend? I think so. Finally, for spirit. It says, trust the niggle. What is the niggling feeling telling you? So right now, I'm going to borrow another one of Brian's quotes. This happened to me the first time I ever went out into the woods to do the offering to Odin, Frigg, and Thor. I had already put it off due to bad weather from the day before. Then there was a Sunday, and sure enough, I was being, I had a Wednesday where I was feeling particularly prickly. Can't explain it. Do not know what was going on with me. All I know is wherever I went, I was watching every exit and feeling like I wanted something to pop off. Kind of felt a little inner wolf, know what I mean? Anyway, that Sunday, no, it wasn't that Sunday. Anyway, put it off due to inclement weather because I kind of had to do this outdoors. The next day, the inclement weather was so-so. It wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible either. And I said, in response to one of his posts, I'm kind of thinking about getting out there into the woods. Don't know yet. Thinking about going on that hike. And he's like, was your spirit giving you a hell yeah or a hell no? I was like, okay, I'll go. That's the thing. Is it giving you the hell yeah or the hell no? That's what you need to be listening to. Because if you get the idea, hey, I want to go here for the weekend, and your spirit is going, hell no, you need to sit your ass down, crack that fucking book open, and get into it. Then you need to sit your ass down, crack open that book, and get to it. But if you if you're looking at your books, or you're looking at doing something else, and then you get that idea, hey, I should probably just take a little physical journey, and your soul says, hell yeah, get out there, get down to the beach, get down to the ocean, get out into the woods, go do it. Or as the kids would say, do it. Did they get that from Rob Schneider? Kind of think I got that from Rob Schneider. Anyway, getting on to the final stage of this bad boy. Odin sacrificed himself for these runes. We're going to use them. Because this is where he gets to speak pretty loudly. And I think we should listen to the man who hung himself from a tree, pierced himself with his own spear, got himself exiled from Asgard at one point, sacrificed his own eye. Do I need to go on? Here we go. We have Tevas, we have Ingus, and we have Lagus. Here we go. So we speak a lot about going with the flow. We speak a lot about that. That's going to be the end here at the spiritual point. I think we're going to save that for last because it's going to be bringing a very powerful message, which is already here. And that is, remember, we're getting Tewas in the physical section, the body section. Balance things. So if you've been sleeping too much, start sleeping a little less. If you've been awake a little too much, start sleeping a little more. Balance your meals. If you haven't been drinking enough water, start drinking a little more now. Get that, get that body in balance. Hey, Libras, we're all about that, remember? With Ingus, you want that personal power to build ethically and slowly over time. That one keeps coming up. Why? Because it's true. This is in your mental position here. So really, really learn to also balance your emotions. But the primary thing is increase your knowledge a little more. Get a little more of those facts to balance the emotions. When you can have a balance of both, you make better decisions, more wise decisions. Remember, you're going to be seeking some counsel this weekend. And the biggest thing right here in Lagus, kind of go with that flow a little more. Don't try to give yourself over a little more to that inner voice that says, hey, something's wrong, and here's how you can correct it. Or hey, you're doing things right, keep doing them. Try to surrender yourself more to that, and if you don't know what it's saying, learn to say, okay, okay, what do I need? What do you want to tell me? Because above all, Spirit has the absolute best resources on the, in the known universe. Spirit has been through a lot. Spirit has been through it all simultaneously in terms of linear time and spaces. We've come to understand it and measure it. Note, I'm not wearing a watch here. It has been through all of that, and that is the most important thing to remember. This is where it's going to go. Let me summarize. So, learn to balance your physical life. Get a little bit of exercise somewhere, because it's going to, get a little exercise, read a few books. I don't care if they're virtual, I don't care if they're physical. No, the internet and constant digging through websites does not count. Learn to get out there and read some books. Here's a great way. Take a walk to the library. Take a book with you on your walk and stop at a certain point where you know that this is a peaceful place to sit and read for a little while, and then continue. That's a way you can do both. 2 birds, 1 stone, ladies and gentlemen. Pack a lunch. Pack a lunch. Eat while you read. Pack a good lunch. Something healthy. Can't hurt, right? So, a lot of your old habits are going to have to die for this one. Fact of life. So balance yourself physically, balance your emotional and mental state, and then finally seek the guidance of spirit. Take a little journey, whether mental or physical, it does not matter, but do one of those two and watch as you change, then the world around you, and then the world outside of that. That's the message. I hope this resonated with you. Thank you so much for bringing your cup of coffee or your morning tea or whatever it is here afternoon. If you had afternoon tea, that's great, because I just did. And I love you guys. I want you to take care of yourselves and each other. Be the beacon that I know you can be. And as always, shine on.